Good evening, watchdogs. Roger Welch here. It's Sunday, March the 2nd. Hope everybody had a good weekend and enjoyed the beautiful weather. I know I sure did. Just give you a little heads up that this video may be slightly longer than normal because I want to cover three things that may take a little bit more time to explain. The three things are, I want to, number one, talk a little bit about city administrative processes and the open records request responses that I've received. It signals that we have some fairly significant issues in the city with respect to what I would consider usual and customary administrative practices with respect to personnel management, performance oversight, and that kind of thing. So I'll get into that a little bit more specifically. The second thing is I wanted to bring you up to speed with the open records request information that I received from the city regarding the new City Clean Initiative. I've mentioned in previous videos that the city has allocated approximately $200,000 additional funds this year for 2025 for litter abatement and city clean initiatives. So I want to give a little more specific information about that. And then thirdly, I received an open records request response regarding code enforcement. And so I want to touch on that a bit as well. So, without further ado, let me jump right into the city administrative operations piece. I sent in an open records request asking for several documents regarding the park superintendent, public works, that kind of thing, because obviously I'm involved in looking at the cleanliness of the city, and the parks department and the parks superintendent specifically is the city official charged with most, if not all, of those activities. So I wanted to drill down a little bit further and try to understand if there was any issues behind the scenes that may be affecting what I'm seeing as I drive around. The trash on the side of the roads, intersections, under bridges, and that kind of thing. So what I did is I requested a copy of the park superintendent's performance plan. The parks superintendent interim performance reviews, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, whatever. It's customary that leaders and employees would have a performance plan and then be given performance feedback at regular intervals during the year. Pretty standard stuff, not only in the government, but in business organizations. I asked for the Park Superintendent Performance Appraisal end of the year, FY 2024. Want to see, what was that? Because my own personal assessment of what I was seeing was not good. So I wanted to see how my assessment matched up to what the city gave the park superintendent at the end of the year. And then I also asked for 2025 performance plan interim reviews that have happened thus far in 2025. some documentation regarding inspections, and I had looked at the mowing and landscape management contract and was able to glean out of that certain terms of the contract that the park superintendent is responsible for. So I wanted to get a little bit more meat on the bones regarding what was happening there. I wanted to see, because I've been in communication with city leaders over time about these issues, I wanted to see for myself if there had been any correspondence from the city council and or the city manager regarding mowing and landscape maintenance issues, and then any correspondence from the city manager to the city council in follow-up to any individual request, etc. So I was really kind of trying to do a more behind-the-scenes deep dive to see if the processes and the administrative actions behind the scenes in the city was actually doing what we thought they should be doing, and they should be doing it, and see how that supported the clean initiative, landscape maintenance, mowing, and all of that, and then try to make some judgment and see if there was any performance gaps there. Well, the result of that request was that most of these things are not available. Yes, I know that's pretty shocking to hear. City says that there's no 2024 performance plan for the park superintendent. Thus, if there's no performance plan, obviously there's no interim performance reviews, how they are communicating performance appraisals and updates throughout the year. I mean, no employee should get to the end of the year and have a surprise as to what their final performance appraisal is. That's why you have interim, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, whatever performance reviews. Let me see here. Obviously, since there was no 2024 performance plan for the park superintendent, there was no end of the year performance appraisal. Try to wrap your mind around that. No performance plan, no interim performance reviews, no end of the year performance appraisal in 2024, nothing in 2025, nothing at all, no 2025 performance plan, no 2025 interim reviews thus far. And yeah, I don't really know how to characterize this other than I've never really seen this level or this lack of structure and processes in any organization, government or otherwise. It's just unconscionable to me, really, that there would be no performance plan, no performance reviews, no the end of the year performance appraisals. But that's what they told me. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. So how do you explain that? Well, to me, it starts clarifying the picture of why we're seeing what we're seeing. There's nothing systematic in the management of anything, I guess, because I have to presume if the park superintendent doesn't have it, The other city leaders don't either. Does the financial manager have a performance plan? Does the financial manager get interim reviews? Do they get an end of the year appraisal? Do any of these folks, are they just kind of lone rangers doing their own thing every once in a while, sending the city manager an email, or if she or he, in the past, Greg Porter, sent them an email, asked them a question, they'll respond. But other than that, city leaders such as the city manager, they have no oversight. They're providing their employees with no input. Based on what the city has sent me and telling me categorically that none of these things exist, that's what this suggests. I have to presume that the city is completely devoid of the usual and customary administrative processes necessary to run an organization and get any kind of excellence and outputs. The way it is now, they're just depending on the goodwill, I guess, of their employees to do their job. No performance oversight, no nothing, no nothing. And then when I moved down to, they provided me with some emails and various other information regarding, the council's interest in or asking questions about these clean initiatives. The city manager, in communicating with the superintendent, and again, you take the city contract, for example. It spells out in very plain terms what they're supposed to do. Guess what? They're not doing it. They're not following the terms of the contract. They're not getting the daily follow-ups from the contractor. They're not getting the daily back and forth between the superintendent and the contractor. There's no evidence at all of the contract terms of inspecting areas and reworking areas and then follow-up inspection and the city manager signing off, all of those things. None of it. None of it. None of it is being done. None of it. So what does this mean? Would this, when you think about fraud, waste, and abuse, would this fall under waste? Not following the terms of the contract? Not doing the follow-up? Not doing the inspections, not making sure that the contractor does the work that he's supposed to do. No hard and fast schedules. Contractor's going to be here within this window of time. No, none of that exists. Those kind of schedules don't exist. Not at all. So how you would describe that in terms of use of taxpayer dollars and stewardship and due diligence by the city over taxpayers' dollars? I don't know. I know what I think about it. Most organizations have what they call a compliance function. And most complex organizations have what they entitle a compliance officer. And a compliance officer's job is to consistently look at, day by day, week by week and month by month, all of the things that the organization is involved in terms of are they following all applicable statutes, laws, rules, regulations, internal guidelines, performance measures, all of that stuff to make sure that the organization is doing what it's supposed to do and is doing due diligence with its finances, with its performance outcomes, its quality measures, all of that stuff. Some cities have that. I noticed on the Houston website they have a compliance function. I couldn't find that on the city website as hard as I looked, so I sent in another public information request regarding the compliance issues. I think I posted that in this group. So anyway, to bring number one to a close, folks, as regretful as I am to bring this to you, by its own response, by its own words, the city is telling us that they do not, and I underline, do not have the usual and customary administrative processes for their employees and for their leaders. So how in the world can we expect a city to be high performing if they don't even have performance plans? They don't have performance reviews. They don't have performance appraisals. They don't have none of it. They have none of it. We can't expect it. It's just not going to happen. It's an abomination, folks. It's an abomination not only to how a city should function, but it's an abomination to us as taxpayers that are expecting the city to have our best interest in mind, to keep our city clean, to provide us with basic city services. That's the minimum. It's the minimum. So it is what it is, folks. That's the bottom line for the city. They don't have it, and they're not doing it. Now, with respect to the new clean initiatives, I asked for a detailed plan for the new city initiatives that are going to be kicked off in 2025. And I don't get me wrong, I'm very, very thankful that the council, probably at our behest because we've been pushing this very, very hard, made the clean initiatives a main focus of their November planning retreat. And then they came out of that planning retreat with some things that they said that they were going to do. They said they were going to allocate, they were going to find a way to allocate a couple $100,000 in additional resources for the city clean initiatives, which include litter abatement and landscape maintenance and all of that, so that we could in fact have a clean city, as the city's vision statement says that we want a clean city. And we haven't been, and we're still not. And in that request, I asked for a breakdown of the resources, including the total staff FTE, specific schedules, and various things. Well, what I got is a very general document that was produced for a briefing for the city council that wasn't very specific at all. It does address the additional resources. It turns out to be about $190K. No specific schedules. Let me pull this up real quick, and I want to give you some examples of what I'm talking about. The new initiatives are proposed to enhance litter abatement by the city along the 67 and the medians and the right-of-ways. And as a part of that, the current level of service, which is twice per month in trash and litter removal, 29 removals per year, that's going to be increased by 40% to 41 trash litter removals per year, an average of 3 per month, transition from 15-day cycle to a 10-day cycle. Well, before I go too far with that, let me just tell you right now, this 2 per month cycle is a part of the current contract, and it has been a part of the current contract. Well, I can tell you, they have not been following the terms of that. They have not. It's hit or miss. If we bring it to their attention, they'll send somebody out there. So that's why I ask for the specific schedules. Okay, if you're going to have 3 trash removals along 67 and the 67 service roads and the right-of-ways and the overpasses and underpasses and all that, well, what is the specific schedule? I mean, in theory, I'm sure they wouldn't do this, but you could have 3 litter removals in 1 week, and then you could go 3 weeks without any litter removal, and you say, "Well, we're filling the terms of that contract. We did 3 this month." No, that's not what we're looking for. We want to know exactly what are the windows of time, the schedules for those 3 per month litter abatement activities, so that we, as a community, as a watchdog group, can be looking for that. Because based on the information that we've gotten thus far, we can't trust the city. We can't trust them. They've told us we can't trust them. They're not doing the inspections. They're not following the terms of the contract. That's not me making it up, folks. That's them telling me that. They're not doing it. So we can't trust them, per their own words. So that's why we want specific schedules. And as I mentioned earlier, the cost of the additional equipment and the crews and all of that will be an annual cost of about $190,000. As far as the timeline is concerned, according to this document, the equipment is being, and other related sundries for the crew is being ordered here, was ordered in February. And in March, this month, the increased 67 litter abatement via the current contract is supposed to start. And then this month, they're advertising, interviewing, and hiring additional staffing and crew mobilization for this initiative. So March is kind of a key tip point here for both starting increased litter abatement 3 times a month, so we'll have to watch and see, via the current contract, and then as the new staff come on board, I guess they're going to kick in and start doing some of that as well. So that's that. That's the new city clean initiatives. According to the city, it's supposed to really start picking up speed and steam this month. And so please help me watch out for that. 67, since it's right through the city's living room, so to speak, is kind of a good barometer for what's happening, because it collects trash quicker than almost any other thoroughfare in the city. And what's particularly troubling along 67 is the service roads. I mean, if you drive them today, they're terrible. There's litter all over the place. And then if you have a windy day like it was today, then it just gets spread everywhere. So we'll need to keep a real close eye on the 67 service roads, because those are highly traveled and those go in front of a number of businesses, and those are very important thoroughfares in our city as well. Okay, lastly, I'm going to kick over to code enforcement. Code enforcement, I got some information regarding code enforcement, and let me just tell you, it's troubling, to say the least. Let me see if I can find that here real quick. Here we go. Real quick. All right. Well, I asked for all of the code violations from 2024 to present. And what I got was very disappointing. Let me be more specific. I asked for the 2024 Code Enforcement Performance Plan because we see so many code enforcement issues. You would think that the Code Enforcement Department would have a performance plan for the year and detail for the city manager what their goals and their outcomes, planned outcomes would be for the year. Well, not surprisingly, as in the other area, doesn't exist. They don't have it. Don't have it. I asked for a copy of code enforcement data, including code violations broken down by code enforcement officer sections. They don't have it. They don't have it. So how they're measuring the productivity for their code officers, I have no clue. I also asked for code violations broken down by type. Well, I guess the document they sent me you could consider to be broken down by type, but it's such a general categories like exterior issues. Really? That's it? I mean, how do you go back and query a database like that? I asked for the number and percentage of code violations abated within the required ordinance time frame. No report addressing that specifically. And then also the number of violations not abated in the required ordinance time frame. That doesn't exist either. The number and percentage of code violations that required legal actions. That doesn't exist either. Copy of the 2024 end-of-year code enforcement performance plan results. Well, since they don't have one, they obviously don't have that either. Copy of the end-of-the-year code enforcement reports submitted to the city manager and the city council. Well, guess what? That doesn't exist either. You see where I'm going with this, folks? The city manager is supposed to be oversighting this program. This is under her. The city council, as the board of directors for this city organization, is supposed to be asking these kind of questions, but they don't. They don't. Instead, at one of the city council meetings that I attended, there was a code enforcement presentation. It was very general, and there was nothing specific in it at all. And the mayor, Stephen Mason, spent his time telling Stacey Adams, oh, I know you guys get all kinds of negative this and negative that. I just want you to know you guys are doing a really good job. It's like, don't listen to all those naysayers. Code enforcement is great here in Cedar Hill. Well, guess what? They have nothing to prove it. Nothing. Absolutely zero to prove it. Everything we do in the Watchdog Group, we do with receipts. And we don't make statements unless we have receipts to go along with it. And the statements I'm making now have receipts. It's based on the response that I got from the city regarding my open records request regarding code enforcement. They don't have it. They tell me in writing, we don't have it. Don't believe me. I have the receipts. I have the receipts. I asked for a copy of code enforcement code officer logs showing follow-up inspections for known troublesome repeat violations. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Copy of code enforcement logs showing inspection, follow-up, and violation closures for code violations identified by the Cedar Hill Watchdog Group, which we've brought several to their attention. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. I asked for a copy of any documentation to 24 to present showing the city manager directed the code enforcement function to increase its present inspections, follow-up, and or productivity in response to city code enforcement concerns. No, doesn't exist. No, doesn't exist. Copy of 2025 Code Enforcement Performance Plan doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. And then I asked for a copy of any 2024 to present documentation showing city manager and or city council concern about code enforcement issues and requesting code enforcement department to provide specific plans for improvement. No, doesn't exist. Does not exist. Copy of any 2025 code enforcement progress reports to the city manager and or city council. Well, I told you there was a presentation, I don't know if it was the last city council or one before, was very general. I wouldn't even class it as a progress report with data. So in my mind, even that doesn't exist. So anyway, regarding code enforcement, the city has essentially told me that they don't have any structure and processes in place for a high-performing code enforcement department. Doesn't exist. Does not exist. So folks, if you want to know why we're seeing, or you're seeing, what you're seeing in this city, it's plain. The city is telling us. They're not doing what a usual and customary high-performing organization would do. They don't even provide their employees with performance plans and performance appraisals. No follow-up. None. They're not following the terms of the contract. I'll have to be honest with you folks. Since there's no compliance function in the city, I'm going to make a recommendation to the city that they contract out to a third-party compliance officer to do a deep dive into their administrative functions. Because the way it is right now, it's never going to be high performing. You can't have it. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. And if that doesn't work, I've done a little research and I need to do some more. It appears at the state level, with any entity that gets state tax dollars, the Texas state auditor potentially can come in and do those kind of audits. So I presume, and I'm pretty sure, that the city does get state tax dollars, which would possibly open the door for the state Texas auditor to come in and do some audits. But yes, the bottom line in conclusion is the city of Cedar Hill has serious problems with how they're running the city behind the scenes. Their administrative functions are basically non-existent, per my open records request. I'm not making this up. So anyway, that's it, folks. I apologize for it being a little bit longer, but I had 3 items that I did want to cover with you. And I think it's only fair for you to have the information that I have. If anybody wants to specifically see some of the backup documentation that I referenced, it's really a little bit too much to post on the in the Facebook Watchdog group, but I'll be happy to share. I mean, I'm just one person crying in the wilderness. This information is public information. It's public information. You're entitled to it. So if you want to see anything specifically, don't hesitate to ask me. I'll be happy to send it to you. So again, hope you had a good weekend, folks. And for anybody that lives in Lake Ridge, I guess I'll be seeing you Tuesday night at the annual meeting. As you know, I'm a candidate for the POA board, and not sure how that's going to turn out. But if you think I'm the kind of person that we need oversighting POA issues, I appreciate your support. Anyway, good night, folks. Catch up to you later. Take care.